Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to Podcast 53-18. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can tweet me at The Public Dog, or you can tweet us at The Odds Breakers. This episode is brought to you by uwager.eu. For a 50% bonus, please use the promo code The Odds Breakers. Terms and conditions apply. If you'd like to help us out with our costs, we'd like to help you out. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a patron subscriber. You'll become an Odds Breakers member. You'll have access to our premium picks before the line moves, as well as the podcast early. If nothing else, please sign up for our free picks newsletter. Great week of college football. We didn't have the best week. We were 10-1, only hit 1 out of 4 money line sprinkles, so we're down a unit or so in college football. NFL's pretty good so far. 3-2 in the sides. Lost that teaser because we put it in, but we still have another teaser pending for tonight. So, and that should hit and make us a profitable week for the NFL. We teased the under of the Titans game. You know, I got to tell you real quick in the NFL, the Steelers, their defense definitely improved. TJ Watt is a beast. He's all over the field. They're covering people better. You know, where was this defense the first 3-4 games? But I got to tell you that Joe Flacco, now that he realizes that his quarterback position is safe and Lamar Jackson will not be taking it anytime soon anyways, he regressed back to normal. You know, I mean, how could you not put together a couple drives there with some of those receivers, Crabtree, John Brown? You know, I don't know if Crabtree's that good. And maybe I'm just bitching here, but I had him filling in on fantasy football this week, and man, the guy can't get open. So maybe it's part that, but you know, Flacco, he holds the ball a long time, a little gun shy at times. Man, the Ravens are flat right now, but who knows? There might be some value on them. Kansas City they destroyed Cleveland. They won by 14 points or something like that. A billion bettors were on that. I have no idea how could you bet on Cleveland. I just don't know. People are just gluttons for punishment there. But we ended up going 3-2 in the super contest on our sides. But it's been a grind in the NFL. It's been a grind. I was wrong on the Redskins. The Falcons came out pissed off, refreshed after their bye week. Their defense looked better. But then again, Alex Smith, he's not a comeback quarterback. Heck, if they could have scored first, the game would have went different. But they couldn't get a running game going. And at the end, they had to throw the ball. They really couldn't run the ball. They were pretty predictable. It was a pretty bad game, but we did get the Minnesota side in the teaser. We got Miami, which was a close game. I don't even think their offense scored a touchdown. It was their defense that did everything. But I just knew the Jets were pretty incompetent, and we also hit the Carolina Panthers. You know, I tell you this, Fitzmagic scared me a little bit at the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter. He was making that 28-point comeback and scored 3 unanswered touchdowns, and Carolina finally got one. And it's like, come on, man. Don't play to lose the game, right? But that's enough in the NFL. Let's move into our college football Week 10 recap. I have a question. I have a question for everybody out there. Where are all the Jim Harbaugh haters? Where are all the people that said that he isn't that good of a coach and shouldn't be the head coach of Michigan? Where's all the people that said Harbaugh cannot win the big game? It's like I said years ago. Jim Harbaugh needs 3 or 4 years for you to figure out if he's going to turn out. People started judging him literally after year 1. He had a decent year 2 without his recruits, just kind of, doing the best he can for Hogue's recruits, and did pretty well that year 2. Just couldn't beat Ohio State. Obviously, everyone remembers the spot of the ball deal, whatever. But this is maybe the year that he gets that done, and obviously, people are pretty dang quiet about old Jim Harbaugh right now, and they're going to erupt if he loses to Ohio State, I'm sure. But right now, he's favored. Michigan destroyed Penn State. They destroyed them. It wasn't even close. Okay? It wasn't even close. I mean, a lot of people said, that's too many points. I was one of them, but it was an absolute ass-kicking, and I'll tell you this, there's a lot of people that predicted it too. It's just Michigan at home is just ridiculously good. Shea Patterson, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Karan Higdon rushing, 132 yards, 1 touchdown. Their defense just stuffed. McSorley, 5 for 13, 83 yards. 1 interception. Tommy Stevens, 3 for 4. 1 interception, 35 yards. Miles Sanders, 14 yards rushing. 14. Lucky he didn't have negative in this game. Michigan might be the best team in the Big Ten, especially after what we saw of Ohio State. Now, Ohio State did play Nebraska and was really, it was really, really pathetic. I don't know what happened to the psyche of this team. I think there's a lot of discourse in this organization. 36-31. They're outscored in the fourth quarter, 10-6. Adrian Martinez had the best stats of Nebraska, 22 for 33. It's at 66%, 266 yards, 8 yards per pass, 1 TD. Dwayne Haskins, 252 yards, 18 for 32. 2 TDs and a pick. If Dobbins didn't have that big rush, man, that breakaway, this would have been a closer game, but there's probably value on Ohio State versus Michigan State. I hate to say that, but there's going to be value on them. But it's really scary to bet Ohio State right now. Let's move into the next game. Louisville versus Clemson. Louisville is that bad, and they're like an FCS team. Clemson's won 77-16. I don't even think they really needed to throw the ball. They only had 20 pass attempts, 3 different quarterbacks. They let everyone practice. This was a practice for them. They went out and practiced. 492 rushing yards, which still isn't the worst because Georgia Tech had 560 some yards, whatever, against Louisville. But still, that was an absolute beatdown. Notre Dame put away Northwestern. Like I said, if this thing goes over 10, I'm taking it. We took Northwestern plus 10.5 and the money line, but sprinkle. But we barely covered that one. Northwestern scored at the end to kind of put it away, but Notre Dame did, but Northwestern did score more points in the fourth quarter there, so good for them. It was a tough spot for Notre Dame, I thought, but they had a lot of fans there. I mean, Chicago, not too far of a drive for the guys. Was it 3-4 hours tops? I don't even think that. Yeah, it was pretty easy. And then Georgia versus Kentucky. What did I say? This is a live betting situation. Whoever scores first, you bet. Georgia scored first, 7-0. They cover the spread, 34-17. Let's see here. Oklahoma versus Texas Tech. 51-46. This was a shootout. This was a serious shootout. And I tell you, Oklahoma, they're on a mission. But that was a really tough spot at Texas Tech. I hope someone bet the over on this game. 95 total points. Kyler Murray had 360 yards, 3 TDs. And Trey Sermon had 206 rushing yards and 3 TDs. Alan Bowman had 227 passing yards, and Jet Duffy had 139 yards. So they played 2 quarterbacks there. Both of them are pretty good. Let's see here. Do we have any injuries? No quarterback injuries here. Just trying to figure it out. I was able to watch a couple glimpses of that game, but not a ton. Moving into Cal versus Washington State was so close. Washington State scored at the end, but this was a perfect letdown spot. And we took Cal as a premium play to our subscribers. And that worked out well. Missouri took care of business at Florida. That was a lot of sharps around that one. West Virginia versus Texas was my favorite game of the weekend. What a last-second win. Holy cow. Sam Ehlinger was amazing. They say he eats nails for breakfast. He plays like it. 350 yards passing. 3 TDs. Will Grier almost matched that. 346 yards and 3 TDs. But that pass at the end to score that touchdown, going for 2 timeouts, 0 seconds left or whatever, a couple seconds. That was an awesome game to watch. And I was on the West Virginia side. When I found out they were going for 2, I was so happy because I had them +2 in the money line. I was like, yes, go for 2, because if it goes overtime, I could lose both just by a field goal or a touchdown scored by Texas. Was really happy about the outcome of that. It was a tough day going into that part until later with us. What else do we have? Utah versus Arizona State. We got burned on the under. ASU scored at the end there. We took the under and lost that one. And we lost it by 2 points. But Herm Edwards, I got to tell you, I'm never doubting that guy again.
Hello? You play to win the game.
The biggest sharp bet and the biggest consensus bet that I knew of was Louisiana Tech at Mississippi State. You saw many people tweet about it, talk about it, podcast about it on TV, and that thing lost. I agreed with it. I gave that out as a play as well. And 45-3, Mississippi State took care of business in a look-ahead spot to Alabama. Just because it's a look-ahead spot doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that it's for sure, but it's just a spot to handicap. So it sometimes gets you over the fence on either side. Syracuse versus Wake Forest. Now, we took the over here and missed it. And I'll tell you this. There's only 6 points scored in the fourth quarter. This thing was trending over. Wake Forest threw that stupid pick, almost ready to score. And then Syracuse decided to just run the ball and run the clock out. That was brutal because this thing was definitely going over. But we at least took Syracuse -5 as a premium play. And we're able to, lessen that